Begin with a haunting new video. A killer roaming the halls of the Washington Navy Yard looking for targets. The FBI released the new surveillance tape showing frame by frame how the gunman moved in secret, and then around him, workers scramble for cover. The video is not easy to watch, but ABC senior justice correspondent Pierre Thomas shows us what it reveals about the mind of a mass shooter.
This is Aaron Alexis, armed with a sawed-off shotgun, hunting innocent victims. It started as a routine Monday at the Navy Yard. Alexis shows his pass and is waved in by a security guard just before 8 a.m. Surveillance cameras capture him driving into a parking garage and moments later walking in through the front door of Building 197. He's working there as a civilian contractor. There's no metal detector, no back check. We next see Alexis armed with the shotgun, peeking around corners, checking doors, looking for someone, anyone to ambush. He moves quickly down the stairs with purpose, eager. Look, he sees some people and ducks behind a wall. This shotgun is the primary murder weapon. On it, he etched a number of carvings, including "End to the Torment," "Better Off This Way," and "My ELF Weapon." Alexis had been hearing voices and believed he was being bombarded by microwaves, something naval authorities knew about. And in his computer files, the FBI found this.
A document retrieved from the electronic media stated, quote, "Ultra-low frequency attack is what I've been subject to for the last 3 months. And to be perfectly honest, that is what has driven me to this."
And so on what should have been a routine day, Alexis killed 12 people. Mothers, fathers, sons, daughters.
The attack came without warning, as seen on this airport surveillance video obtained by TMZ. 26-year-old Esteban Santiago pulls out his pistol and opens fire. Passengers run for cover as Santiago moves out of camera range through the baggage claim section, where police say he emptied his 9mm semi-automatic handgun and then reloaded once, killing 5 people and injuring 6 more. Tonight, the question is why a man who told the FBI he was hearing voices about ISIS thought the government had put a chip in his head.
That's an AR.
Try it now.
Oh my God.
Callers indicating she thinks there's someone shooting in the building. Individual that I have on the phone is continuing to hear what he believes to be gunfire. We have one now in room 1 who has received a shot wound to the foot, uncertain of any other injuries. I advise for ambulance staging.
Okay, these units are cool. I got bodies here. Let's get ambulance.
And we're going to have to come together and take meaningful action to prevent more tragedies like this, regardless of the politics.
Suddenly, with no warning, a blue pickup truck came crashing through the big glass window of the restaurant's dining room. It was no accident. The driver meant to crash into the dining room, and he kept on accelerating, running over several tables and the people who were sitting at them. The truck finally came to rest completely inside the dining room. When the truck stopped, witnesses say the man started shooting before getting out. He then walked over and shot 2 people he had just run over.
This, of course, is the case of Daniel Drayton, who was arrested in North Hollywood for allegedly kidnapping, raping, and torturing a woman here after he's accused of murdering a woman in New York. And after this interview, it is clear his mental health will likely be a big part of his defense. Calling himself a good person who heard voices in his head, accused killer and confessed serial killer Daniel Drayton, seen here being taken into custody last week in North Hollywood, spoke from the Men's Central Jail in downtown Los Angeles with the New York Daily News, an interview in which he admitted to killing New York nurse Samantha Stewart. "I really liked her," Drayton told the Daily News. "I didn't want to kill her. They told me she had to die." They would be voices in his head that Drayton went into further detail about. "I'm a passenger in my own body," he repeated over and over. "It's mind control. They use direct energy weapons on me to control my mind." Drayton said he suffered from schizophrenia and bipolar disorder and has admitted to several more murders, but police aren't sure whether they actually happened. Authorities were able to track Drayton from New York to L.A., where Drayton said he hoped his crime spree would come to an end. "I wanted to get caught," he said. "I took some of her things with me and used them. I kept my same phone. I knew they could track it. I didn't want anyone else to get hurt." Well, someone had. In North Hollywood, he kidnapped, raped, and strangled another woman, telling the Daily News he thought he had actually killed her until she stirred. He says he considered killing himself, but by then authorities had moved in and placed him under arrest. Now, after twice refusing to leave his jail cell last week to go to court, Drayton was finally arraigned on Monday, during which he pleaded not guilty.
The CIA claims torture works. No-touch torture is a whole new topic, a whole new category. Most people don't believe it's happening. You can be tortured in your own home. No one will believe you. But this is torture, and I want there to be no doubt about it. This is torture, destruction of life, and a destruction to misery for all these people, the innocent Americans. And it's a war crime. It's a crime against humanity for sure. They're trying to grasp all sorts of data from how effective can we make them kill each other themselves? How do you make a rational player go down to walk them to their death? The first logical thing they do is go to the police. Well, the police can't help you. They don't. They're going to give you a lockup and 72 hours in a psych ward.
One of the men behind the technology admits he created a monster. Dr. Robert Duncan put together the technology that allows the government to transmit thoughts and voices into the heads of Americans.
I've worked on projects for the CIA, Justice Department, Department of Defense.
So you know for a fact that these weapons that you worked on, they're being used domestically today?
Absolutely.
Are there citizens of this country that are being abused with this technology?
Worse than abused, that's a light word. They're being tortured. They easily could be broadcasting across the country messages to people and causing them extreme pain.
We've run into a few people that claim they got voices in their head. When they talk to us, they seem totally normal. Are these people crazy, or is the government doing this to them?
The government's doing this to them. They're called voice of God weapons.
So the targeted individuals aren't crazy after all.
These are people within our government at a certain level making these decisions, and they're not necessarily our president or our elected officials.
That's exactly right. They can't be removed, and they're difficult to find. They hide in the dark crevices of our government. These technologies that are being torturing people around the world, these type of weapons can make you kill yourself or others. They hide it in their news broadcasts. Oh, he's just crazy. They don't go any deeper. The colonel said, if you can pipe voices into someone's head, I will find a way to talk them to their death. I know a couple high-level FBI, former FBI, that retired after their 25 years of service or whatever. And they talk about how corrupt their agencies were. And those at the very top are very conniving. And as long as they can get away with it, they will. If the highest level of sort of criminal justice has failed this country, there is no hope.
On the left over here, we have individuals who are religious fundamentalists, religious fanatics, and this is the expression, RT-PCR, real-time PCR, expression of the VMAT2 gene. Over here, we have individuals. So let me complete. So over here, we have individuals who are not particularly fundamentalist, not particularly religious, and you can see there's a much reduced expression of this particular gene, the VMAT2 gene. Another evidence that supports our hypothesis for the development of this approach.
What you're suggesting here is by spreading this virus, we're going to eliminate individuals from donning on a bomb vest and going into a market and blowing up the market.
So our hypothesis is that these are fanatical people, that they have overexpression of the VMAT2 gene, and that by vaccinating them against this, we'll eliminate this behavior. So we have some very, very remarkable data in this next slide. Here we have two brain scans. These are fMRIs. These are two different individuals with different levels of expression of VMAT2. On top is an individual who's a religious fanatic, an individual, and we've repeated this numerous times, that has high levels of VMAT2. Now, this individual down here who had low levels of the VMAT2 gene, this individual would self-describe as not particularly religious. In each case, these individuals were read a religious text. This individual lit up the right middle frontal gyrus, shown here, and that's a part of the brain that's associated with theory of mind. It's a part of the brain that has to do with intents and beliefs and desires. In marked contrast, here's an individual who would not particularly self-describe as religious, and when they're read a religious text, what you see is that this part of the brain called the anterior insula lights up. This is a part of the brain that's associated with disgust or displeasure on hearing something.
So you're suggesting I take a CT scan with me when I'm evaluating people to determine whether I put a bullet in their head?
So the data that I'm presenting here supports the concept that we're proposing, and I think that we would not propose to do CT scans or fMRIs on individuals out in the hinterlands of Afghanistan. The virus would immunize against this VMAT2 gene, and that would have the effect that you see here, which is it's essentially to turn a fanatic into a normal person. And we think that will have major effects in the Middle East.
How would you suggest that this is going to be dispersed? Aerosol?
Well, so the present plan and the tests that we've done so far have used respiratory viruses, such as flu or rhinoviruses, and we believe that that's a satisfactory way to get the exposure of the largest part of the population. Most of us, of course, have been exposed to both of those viruses, and we're quite confident that this will be a very successful approach.
This is fascinating. What's the name of this proposal?
Yeah, so the name of this project is FunVax, which is the vaccine for religious fundamentalism.
And you have a proposal already?
The proposal has just been submitted, and I think that the data that I have shown you today would support the development of this project, and we think it has great promise.